So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Frost for her comments. Ms. Frost, please.
Great. Thank you, President Jones, and good morning, everyone. Today does mark the one-year anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic and the way that we really changed the way that CalPERS functions and provides services to both its members as well as our employer community. We are starting to see infection rates go down, which is great news, and the vaccines being more widely and strategically distributed throughout the state. In reflecting on some of the experiences of last year, I am proud of the resiliency of our team and really appreciative of everyone's willingness to adapt to this virtual environment and really to stay productive and engaged and continue to serve our members, which is our primary goal and our primary mission. So beyond just meeting online and operating remotely, this pandemic has required us to look at other creative ways to connect with our members and deliver the services that they really rely on the team to provide. So for example, and I've got a few examples here, we did create just prior to COVID-19 hitting a new electronic gateway for our members to pay for health benefit premiums, service credit purchases, and other benefit services online. And by the end of last month, we had just over 11,000 members who made $11 million in payments. So I'd like to thank the financial office and our IT organization for putting that new service in place for our members to have more of the ability to do this in a self-serve kind of manner. And while we're not open yet for in-person appointments, we now provide members with virtual counseling appointments. As Mr. Sweeney reported during the Pension and Health Benefits Committee, last year was the first year that we offered this service. It really was a quick pivot over from the one-on-one in-person meetings to these virtual offerings, and we completed 45,000 virtual counseling appointments. And we have continued to receive high satisfaction ratings from the members who are using that service. Also, COVID-19 forced us to stop printing our Perspective newsletter. We turned to a monthly member email to communicate information and to provide really important updates about either the work or about program developments. We've now sent out nearly 15 million emails, and those emails have driven a record number of visits to our website. So that is very good traffic coming through a very high open rate from those emails. As for returning to the office, I know I get a lot of questions about this. We continue to base our decisions on the guidance coming from state and federal officials and public health experts. That's really been the guidance. We also have Dr. Logan here on our team and Don Molds on our team who contribute and provide information every day in our huddles. Again, so fortunately, we are seeing a positive direction as we approach the summer, and our current planning is to assess the full timing of our return and when our return to work plan would be initiated in July. And if the vaccine continues to roll out in the way that it has, and health officials, continue to lighten restrictions, we could start transitioning back to the office in September, and that would be done first on a voluntary basis, which again is a part of our return to work plan. Later this morning, you will also be hearing about our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Framework, or DEI, that is being led by Marlene Timberlake-Diadamo, with several contributors from around CalPERS, including our health teams, our investment teams, our procurement teams, just as some examples. This would be an important set of strategies that are aimed at strengthening our existing commitment to DEI in our culture, in our business lines, and our operations. The framework focuses on culture, talent management, health equity, vendor relationships, and investments. So we're very happy to share our work to date and look forward to hearing your feedback later this morning. Taking a look now at some of our upcoming events, next week we will host another CalPERS benefit education event. This will be our first one for 2021, and that event will be offered on March 24th and March 25th. We are looking forward to the new season of the virtual CBs, knowing that they were very well attended in 2020 when we saw over 15,000 class attendees at the two events that we had held virtually. And again, these events return very high satisfaction ratings from the participants, very good feedback coming in that we have used to adapt this year's offerings. A newly added feature for this year, which really did come from some of the feedback from the participants, would be to offer the virtual exhibits so members can speak directly with representatives either from our customer service teams, from the health program, or from representatives of the Social Security Office. Another upcoming virtual event is the CalPERS and CalSTRS Investment Diversity Forum. That will be held on June 22nd of this year. This will be the fourth event we've co-hosted with CalSTRS to help advance diversity and inclusion in the investment industry. It will be a free one-day event this year. And sessions will address a number of timely matters, including the impact of COVID-19 on human capital management and how bias can potentially impact business and the financial markets. We'll post the details on our website as we continue program development for the event. And then finally, I want to mention that we started a new virtual version of our employer leadership dialogues, or ELDs, as they are fondly known within the organization. These really are peer-to-peer meetings with senior leaders from our contracting cities and counties, special districts, and schools. Our actuarial office, our health program, our customer service area, legislative affairs, and stakeholder relations all participate in these events. It's an opportunity for us to share new information or changing information coming from policies or legislative items, or just simply how to administer a current benefit, such as reportable earnings. But it's also an opportunity for us to listen and hear directly from our employers about what they're struggling with or what their challenges are. And so we're very happy that we have scheduled 6 of those ELDs throughout the year. Now looking ahead to next month's board meeting, we'll be planning for the next fiscal year by reviewing the proposed operating budget and reviewing both the enterprise and enterprise compliance and risk plans. And we'll also be sharing the results of our annual employee engagement survey, which I'm very happy to share with you. Moving on now to some outreach, the NASRA event, which is something we attend here at CalPERS. We believe that peer networking with the other U.S. public pension plans is extremely important. We can get updates on legislative items or policy items or governance items that other systems throughout the United States are facing. And it's just an opportunity to network with people who do the same business that we do. So I was very happy to be able to attend that along with Danny Brown. That was followed by the series annual conference last week. I was on a panel to discuss our investment strategies aligned with the Paris Agreement. And really, this was just a continuation of the discussions we've been having about the impacts of climate change on the global economy and our three-pronged really investment approach to mitigate risk, but also to identify opportunities in this transition. I also had the opportunity to participate on a panel regarding investments in the private markets and private equity, specifically on a virtual event that was organized by the Boston Consulting Group. That group just provides guidance for business leaders in several sectors of the economy. And this particular panel I was on with Mark Wiseman was focused on private equity and ESG in the private markets.
Let's call
President Jones mentioned
door.
Women's History Month, and there's another very important observance this month, which is Cesar Chavez Day on March 31st. He was a tireless advocate for the rights of farm workers and an ardent believer in nonviolent demonstrations to help drive change. As a part of our diversity inclusion efforts within the organization, we'll have a number of articles highlighting his work throughout the month on our intranet. And then I'll close with the announcement that this year's class of APEX nominees was recently announced. APEX stands for Achieving Performance Excellence. It really, for me, it's the highest form of recognition because it is peer nominated and peer reviewed. We have 22 team members who have been nominated this year by their peers, and a committee of peer reviewers are going through the detailed award nomination packets this week, and we'll be able to announce those recipients soon. So I'd like to congratulate all the nominees and really thank those who nominated their peers, as well as thanking the peer review team for putting in the work to really support an important program here. And then the last note, really the last note, is that I did mention that Leanna Bailey Crimmins has been appointed by Governor Newsom to become California's Chief Technology Officer at the California Department of Technology. Leanna has worked with CalPERS since 2013, and she served in a number of roles here. She served first as our Chief Information Officer, then as our Chief Health Director, and then most recently as our Chief Information Security Officer. In each position, I think what we all valued about Leanna, and you certainly saw this at the board meetings, is her commitment to excellence and to all of the CalPERS members in which she felt that she served directly, even in some of these indirect roles. We wish Leanna the very best in her new role, serving the people of California. So that does complete my report, President Jones, but I am happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Frost. And we do have a question, Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Marcy. Not so much directed towards your report, but since we're not revisiting the investment stuff anymore, yeah. Do we have some kind of a document, a controlling document